But I think the important thing to read out is the closing submission speech. Graham's read this out on his channel before, so I know he won't mind me doing it here. But here we go. I want to read this because it didn't come out in court, and I think it's important it does. My lords, we are gathered in this court under no ordinary cause. This is not the quarrel of man against man, nor the settlement of some petty dispute of property or contract. It is the trial of principle, the defence of liberty, the vindication of that most undoubted right which our forefathers bled to secure, the freedom of election. For what is an election, if not the very heartbeat of a free nation? It is the moment when the humble man stands equal with the mighty, when the widow and the workman, the farmer and the scholar alike place their trust by a single mark in one who shall represent them. In that act lies no less than the sovereignty of the people. A.V. Dicey, that great expositor of our Constitution, declared that Parliament is sovereign only because the people lend their sovereignty to it. It is a loan, not a gift. It is given for a term, and at the end of that term, it must be returned. That truth was echoed by one of our own in recent memory, Tony Benn, a man of Parliament, but above all, a servant of the people. Power, he said, is lent to me, and at the end of Parliament, I must return it. And her late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, in her gracious address to both houses, affirmed that the authority of her government derives solely from the people's will expressed in free elections. My lords, what nobler chorus could there be? Dicey, Benn, and our late sovereign, all proclaiming the same truth, that the fountain of sovereignty is not found in the palace, nor in this court, nor in the commons themselves, but in the people. And that foundation flows only when elections are free, fair, and beyond reproach. It is therefore a solemn charge placed upon the returning officer. Any hour when he takes command of an election, he becomes no longer a mere functionary, but a crown officer. Upon his shoulders rests the sacred duty of ensuring the people's will is neither thwarted nor tampered with. He's answerable personally, criminally, and in tort for every act of wrong committed in the poll, the count, and the return. Yet what have we seen? We've seen the returning officer cease to be the guardian of the ballot and become instead the appointer of the member. We have seen the will of the people displaced by the administrative fiat, and let the court understand when the returning officer appoints, the people are dispossessed. When the returning officer appoints, there is no freedom of election. And when there is no freedom of election, there is no sovereign parliament. In 2011, the people themselves were asked, shall we have another form of vote? Shall we depart from our accustomed ballot and adopt the alternative vote? And the people, in the clear light of referendum, said no. They chose their franchise, plain and uncorrupted. Yet what I and 3 other witnesses observed was not mere deviation, not some trifling irregularity. It was a crime against the foundation of our liberty, a trespass against our undoubted human right of free election. My lords, the freedom of election is no small matter. It is the root of the tree, the keystone of the arch, the sure foundation of every other right. Without it, our liberties are a house built on sand, our parliament a chamber of echoes, our constitution a parchment without life. And what then of rules and forms, of procedures and regulations? These, my lord, are but the handmaids of justice, not her mistress. Shall the forms of law be raised up to crush its spirit? Shall technicalities strangle the people's birthright? No prejudice is done by either party by hearing this cause, but the gravest prejudice, the gravest injustice would be done to the people of Runcorn and Helsby in England were this court to close its ears to the subversion of their will. And so, my lords, I submit this court has not merely the power, but the duty to act, to vindicate the ancient right of free election, to guard the sovereignty of Parliament by upholding the sovereignty of the people. To refuse would be to betray Dicey, Benn, and her late Majesty, to betray the very principle on which our Parliament stands, to betray the people themselves. Let us name this wrong for what it is. It's not mistake, it's not accident, it's not mere irregularity. It is usurpation, the theft of the people's voice, the silencing of their will, the petition, the pollution of their franchise. And if this court permits such a usurpation to stand, then freedom itself is but a word, and Parliament but a hollow name. But if this court acts, if it strikes down this wrong, then it proclaims to the people of Runcorn and Helsby in England that here the ancient rights of free men are still guarded. Here the sovereignty of the people is still honoured. Here the Constitution still lives. My lords, I rest my case. Let justice be done, though the very heavens fall. Very, very powerful words.